Peace. Good morning. First and foremost, hopefully the Most High in your house has blessing your day. By His mercies, we aren't consumed. We're alive in the Most High in your house has body, and two are naturally alive. And yeah, man, I want to get into this, man, because hopefully, and also too, man, like even though like things is like going through brothers, like sisters, y'all going through trials and tribulations, man. Like Psalm 62. And they says, man, trust in the Most High in your house at all times, man. Don't is that honestly, man, too. It's that I was talking about this with my coworker yesterday. Honestly, he was saying it in a roundabout way, honestly, but it was like it was scriptural. It was even biblical, man. He said pretty much, especially amongst men, honestly, that's why it says confess your faults to one another, and honestly too, even though a lot of times men we kind of we do hold things in, but actually we do confide in other men. But for the most part, sometimes we know that as men, that this brother here, and he got stuff of his own going on. So constantly going to him about you. Don't get twisted, because we are supposed to bear each other's burdens, but not going to that quote unquote that aspect of the quote unquote spiritual energy vampire per se, because he's supposed to bury our burdens, carry our burdens to one another, not become a burden. But we know for the most part men don't we try not to do that, just in the word, out the word, honestly, because we know that even though in the word we're supposed to, but even more, but we know that okay, that's another man, he got stuff going on too as well. But like my coworker was saying, man, so see a lot of time too is his strength and that honesty and that weakness, man. Because even when your house was at his weakness, shout out to brother Semi firstborn, he brought his other brothers with him, man. Honestly, at his moment, he was damn bit sorrowful. He was sorrowful unto death. Honestly, he wanted to die. Honestly, it's So, but at his weakest, he still brought other men with him. So, it's how much more do we need to do that, honestly? So, and he said, honestly, even my coworker said, man, my supervisor, coworker, my head, he even said, man, it actually takes actual man to do that when he's in the low state, or when he's feeling weak, to confide in other men to build himself, build each other up. Honestly, that's why Jude 1:20 says, "Build each other up in the faith." And what the house I said to Peter, strengthen your brother. Even that's even in the pride. That's even in Joshua, like we talked about when Moses strengthened Joshua, or honestly, man. So that's been since the beginning, honestly, even though at that time of Moses, but that was kind of in the start, in the in the law. That's even in the law, honestly. So, yeah, man, this is what it is right there. So I just wanted to say that, but honestly, man, too, this kind of shout out to brother sent me first one for saying this too, because honestly, this is true, because and this is the aspect of you don't I don't know why I just did that. It's the aspect of shout out to brother Simbi first for saying this, and we went over this the other day in the what video was that? What were you talking about? Oh gosh. Oh yeah, the strive not with your neighbor without a cause, and that was the aspect in that the publican and the Pharisee parable, man. Honestly, which was one of my favorites. Honestly, I think the prodigal son is my favorite. Parable that Yahushua taught, but but anyway, man, it's the fact that honestly, what was I going to say? It slipped my mind. It was that aspect of it was the aspect of it was shout out to brother somebody first one for saying this too. It's the aspect of how the publican, he was just a real, you could be real and stand up without without being the word as well, man. If you keep it of course you need the faith of the Most High house shot, in the spirit, in the belief, honestly, and being his instruction even more. But listen, some people come his too, honestly, and that's where that Hebrews comes into, honestly, or in the second measure goes into wicked heart unbelief, because honestly too, here's a balance and nuance to this, because there's many people, there's some people I know that honestly, even many people out here in the four corners of the earth, of our people, in there's people in general, they have qualities, aspect of this in the word, honestly, but They just don't have the belief, honestly. And that's what you need. To really need the belief in the Most High Yahushua and the word and the faith, honestly. But they have characteristics. They line up with the word. But you know it is too, because and that's what it is too. Because shout out to brother Semi First for saying that, man. That's why Yahushua said the publicans and harlots gonna make it there before you. Because then, man, he running across one of those people, many of those that are trying to convert, but they are real, man. Honestly, because that's what it is too. And then, just as a side note, I think we shared it in the reels a while back, man. But like there's a brother. Shout out to that brother. He has his own podcast, or it's like in his YouTube channel where he talks about he talks about other things. Mainly he covers like The Wire, which is my favorite show, one of my favorite shows ever, man. And he talked about and honestly that's true, man, because a lot of times too we tend to. I even had a moment too. I just had a long day though, but I was like, you know what? I kind of felt I didn't want to make fun of that brother. I was kind of a lot of the times our people when we see our people out there in the street, that's one of the curses stricken with madness. That's just one of the thing too, or even curses aside, our people with this actually have actual spirits on them or actually deep mental health issues, man. So that certain things just don't laugh at people like that. Even though I didn't laugh at the brother per se, but the other brothers laughing. I was kind of telling them, nah, chill, just kind of I was just kind of I just had a long day. I was a little annoyed by it, but I was like, no, I can't I'm not gonna laugh or get mad at that brother, man, because he was going through a lot with that. I ain't gonna go into the situation, but anyway, yeah, we tend to do that, but also it's the aspect of you can be real even that's what I was gonna say too, because he the brother was saying, or we shared the real, he said, because say The Wire, right, even even that side, because he said, listen, our lives are more closer to the Bubbles, if y'all watch The Wire, Bubbles, he was a drug addict pretty much, a crackhead, a drug addict and the thing, but he's very intelligent, very smart, but honestly more people like that, they're more, but he was more open and honest to who he was, and that's what the brother had said. But even that aside, because some I know it's most time I come across not all, but some people some people that the brothers and sisters that are homeless and or even drug addicts, man, but it is too, they're more inclined to they're more upfront and real about who they are than 98% of people out here, man, or 96 or 98% people out here, man. They are, man, because listen, and this too, we kind of talked about this in the past, and I remember a brother online shared a comment about, it was it was about, I forgot what it was. I think it was pretty much a clip of a brother talking about, it was a video talking about DMX, man, and he was talking about the brother, and I think we talked about this before, the brother in the comment section, he said, yeah, many of y'all making fun of him, or people like him. That's why I think people even myself, that love, like this music so much, and even afar, because we for the most part, I knew people, a lot of us knew people like that, honestly. I had a cousin like that, and even when my a stepdad that's like that, honestly. When my that he's kind of like that. My cousin that passed away years ago was like that, honestly. That's really, I have a lifelong fight with those things, man. So, but pretty much, man. But what the brother said in the comments that is that many of y'all are making fun of him, but y'all got but behind closed doors, y'all wicked, y'all lying, y'all cheaters, y'all scammers, y'all y'all evil, malicious, spiteful. Y'all probably do the same thing, but it's behind closed doors. But it's because somebody a DMX or somebody else is doing it in the open, or the homeless brothers and sisters that we see are doing it out in the open. You think, because this too, it's that spirit of, okay, at least I'm better than somebody, man. Honestly, that's more internal thing with people. So yeah, man. But those people, man, they actually more honest about who they are. Pretty much, man. My point being is that just because, man, you could just be honestly, you could be real, and stand up just 100, even without the word, man. You can still be blessed for it, because that's the thing too. No, let's grab this too real quick, man. Psalms 32, because I was just thinking about this last night, man, and it just goes to show you the character of our God, man, or the Most High Yahushua, man. Because let's grab this too. Now this is talking about Yahushua, of course. Yeah. That's why the Lamb he was without guile and no deceit in him. And John 1:47, this is talking about that. Of course, John 1:47, and how shouts without guile and deceit, man. And but honestly, even outside of that, man, it's then we're gonna go. We might go to John real quick, but it says, "Blessed is the man whom the Lord imputeth with not iniquity, and whom spirit is there is no guile." So yeah, Exactly, man. So there's no guile, no deceit, no ulterior motives or agenda. You just a real 100, actual stand up man, honorable man. Honestly, shoot, like the brother sent me first one said, man, we shouldn't like be like messing with one. We need to first and honestly like try to be the best men that we could be each of these days that the Most High Yahweh lets us, and be very honorable. Disciplined and compassionate and impacting others' lives, man. Because honestly, that's a true testament of like, like speaking of DMX earlier, man. He had a quote. He said it one time in an interview. He said, "Listen, man, a real test of a man, or even person, but especially a man, is not what he does for himself, but what he does for others, man." And that's a fact, man. Honestly, so. Yeah, so we should be doing that as well, working on ourselves each and each day, like myself. Well, also too, man, like even like listen, not mess with people, a dishonorable man, even if he's like out the word, in the word, man, in the word or out the word, man, not messing. If you're a dishonorable man, honestly, you can't be messing with them, honestly. And the word even talks about that. Like one, even just that out, like more within the word, like a John 16, or there's many scriptures going into that, and many examples in that in this word. But even outside the word too, just even brother, like those are that outside the word too, honestly, man. So, because that's just is what it is, man. Because yeah, and that goes back into that twofold thing, man. Because too, honestly, man, just because like somebody's in the word, man, doesn't mean that, like, or that's just like knowledge in the word, but any aspect of the spiritual fear. Actually, we was talking about that yesterday in at work too, honestly. But yeah, whether in Christianity, Jehovah's Witnesses, like and Baptist, Pentecostal, Catholic, whatever, even our brothers and sisters that's in that, just remember that too. Like just because somebody's in the word don't mean that too. Like you go, well, how shall I say by the fruits? And also too, there's some people that come in the word and they just are always like who they were. Like honestly, that's what that way how shall I said they become twofold a child of hell, like even worse than before, man. But yeah, man, that's just is what it is, man. So and honestly too, I got self-examine and see if I'm that too as well, man. Like if I'm certain things too. But anyway, yeah. But it says, "Blessed is the man whom the Lord imputeth not iniquity, and who spirit there is no guile." So yeah. So see that, because let's get this Ecclesiastes chapter 42 real quick. Cause yeah, man. Cause this I love the scripture, man. Because honestly, man, this is going into in his image how we have to be too. Because even like certain things like this is things of not being ashamed of. Even like certain things, even like this kind of that Romans 2 goes into as well. Even people that don't believe the word, man, they still gotta do like judge and like our conduct and judge and like handle matters like in a godly fashion, even handle them as that, even those that believe, more importantly, even those that don't, honestly, because that just goes to show. Because listen, man, like honestly, man, because that's when you're purpose driven, and that's how the Most High house shot, like we learn manhood from that, and or just even people like how to be upstanding, man. Because like depending, because got certain people, right, they're going to do that, like regardless if like if you were there or not, because that's just who they are, right? Because if you meet a like a sister, right, and she was kind of raised like that, that's instilled in her, or like to like to do those things, to be obedient, or like say you get meet a sister and she comes around and cleans your house, honestly, like but honestly too, as a side note too, you should compensate her for that, honestly, like even if she just says no, because as men, then for the most part, some women, for the most part, not all, would then like y'all get in disagreement, they bring that up and say, hey, well, I was like I like yeah, I came over and cleaned up your house, even though that disagreement has nothing to do with that. They'll bring that up. That's how you compensate. Like, no, listen, just take this, honestly, because even though you like you don't say, listen, I didn't actually do that, because then it's like, okay, you didn't actually do that, but you ain't mind her like benefit from that. So no, you do that, even though it's like, listen, if she's hesitant about it, no, that's another story for another day. But pretty much, if you meet a sister, right, and she like comes over, cleans the house for you, man, like she's just like obedient and like things of that nature, and but certain like that, she's gonna do that regardless, like if you like because that's just who she is, or like if you was like there or not, because that's just who she is, like an Abigail type, honestly, because it don't matter like who it is, she's just going to do it because that's his nature, who he is. If even this is a good man or a wicked man, that's just who she is. But even the same thing on the flip side, more importantly too, like a brother, man, like a man, like it's like, listen, he's going to, like, especially a man with purpose, honestly, like, he's going to, like, I think that's what, this example, I think, Conor McGregor's wife stayed with him because she knew that he was going to do this, like, do the MMA thing, become a fighter, it would be a trained fighter, regardless was she was there or not, honestly. That's what's called being purpose driven. That goes back to the beginning, man, like, just like even Adam, because Adam, like, had ruined dominion before Eve got there. So same, of course, with the second Adam, but Yahushua, like, the Most High Yahushua. So yeah, exactly. That's just, it is what it is, man. So yeah, some people they're like that, man. That's just who they are. Like, that's honestly, you should do that. Like, let's grab the two. Ecclesiastes chapter 42 and verse 1. It says, Of these things be not thou ashamed, except no person to sin thereby, of the law of the Most High, and his covenants, yeah, especially your new covenant. That's why Yahweh said, "Be not ashamed." He that ashamed of me, I'm gonna be ashamed of in front of the Father and the angels, man. Yeah, and in a judgment to justify the ungodly. So see that, man. So it don't matter if they believe or not, man. You still gotta do certain things. This is no really caveats about certain things. Honestly, I speak as a man. Of course, how much we should do amongst saints and amongst the Lord's house, those are believers. But even those that don't believe, we should justify and do righteous judgment, honestly, handle matters wisely according to the word, even with them, or behave ourselves accordingly to them, even those that don't believe, honestly, because what it is too, this goes to show you somebody's character, honestly, man, because somebody is, man, because listen, when the Most High Yahushua, man, when even still to this day, and even all through our history, man, when Israel was doing what they wanted to do, worshiping other gods and being evil, being unfaithful, spiteful, malicious, breaking his laws, statutes, commandments, worshiping other gods, unjust judgment, the evil eye, unjust gains, unjust dealings, unjust killings, all the things on the sun, you name it, everything that we was doing, even to everything we're doing now, honestly. The Most High House, they still are who they are. They're going to be that, because that's just the byproduct of who they are regardless, because that's kind of what we're saying, right? Because that's kind of the examples we mentioned. Because, listen, some people, they're going to be who they are regardless. Because it's more about, about them, honestly, because that's where, honestly, a good name comes from, honestly. That's why the Most High House is, serious about their name, because, listen, this is my name, listen, because I hold myself to standards, honestly, honor, integrity, faithfulness, justice, truth, honestly. So yeah, it don't matter if that is, that's why we shared that Cat Williams clip. He said, listen, man, because my intentions aren't pretty much not talking about just himself, but pretty much when he says, man, when your intentions ain't bad, man, it's really nothing to be worried about, man, honestly. So, and that's where honestly that's why the spirit of truth, the Holy Spirit and the spirit of peace, how I said, is carefree. You'll be free because especially that's why blessed would be the man without guile or there's no deceit, honestly, man, because and that even can't enter into the Lord's house, man. So honestly, man, it's said about Jeremiah, those that do the work of the Lord deceitfully, or in second Ezra, deceit shall be called. It's all in Psalms. That's not going to enter into his house, man. But see, going back to that's a broader product of who they are. They will be that regardless, because that is just honestly too, going back to that purpose driven, honestly, because listen, that's going to their will going to be done regardless. That's why they said their words last forever. There's many councils, but the council of the Most High House shall stand, so it doesn't even matter, because their will going to be done. Because when you purpose driven, you're going to do that regardless. Because listen, man, certain things, man, the Most High House is going to has done and will do, whether it's whether even if we existed as a people or not, he was going to do what he was going to do regardless. Now, that's just is what it is. So, yeah, man, that's just, yeah, man. So I just want to get that too, and even in that, man. So that's why even those that don't believe, he can still bless those that are somebody that's an honorable person, without guile or deceit or that maliciousness or that, man, because listen, that's just who they are, man. At the end of the day, you still gotta believe at the end of the day. But it says, "Blessed is the man whom the Lord imputed this, and whose spirit there is no guile." So see, it says in the it says of the law of the Most High and His covenant and of judgment and to justify the ungodly. So see that? Listen, man. So if you're a real upstanding person, man, you can still even be blessed, man. Even those that don't believe, man. But more importantly, how much more that those believe amongst them. Because we go out to get example of this in John, and we're gonna go look at this in Peter, man. But yeah, man. That's just the thing about it, man. Because listen. Because, there's like some people see that, but that goes back into how the Most High House our ways is our ways. Because, listen, that goes into Hebrews, like we talked about in the beginning, this wicked heart of unbelief. Honestly, that's that's why our faith is so important. That's why Hebrews 11 goes into without faith it's impossible to please Him. But honestly, because to be honest too, even that to please Him to hit the highest degree too. Because don't get it twisted, not contradicting what we talking about. Because they can be blood. They can be do things that's Lord. No, that is true because you could do things do things that's pleasing to Him, but to ultimately please Him, you have to have faith. So yeah, let me correct and backtrack on that. So yeah, but pretty much if you're an honorable, integral, good, upstanding person, man, the Most High House will still, and He does, and He does still bless people for that, man. Honestly, now it's just it is what it is, and that's just who they are. Whether somebody's righteous or even wicked, even good or evil, man. He's going to still do what he's going to do, honestly, man. Because because He holds Himself to His own standards. It doesn't matter, man. Because because that's just who they are, man. It don't matter, man. It's kind of like on a job, right? Say honestly too. I've seen other coworkers do this before, and they were talking about this, I think yesterday, we was actually talking about this yesterday at work too. It's at the job, right? Y'all brothers and sisters probably been to jobs, right, where different coworkers, in different organization companies or jobs where other people wasn't working, but you was always working, man, because you do it. I'm just gonna do my job, because it's about my name. Because I'm going to do this regardless. It doesn't matter who's not doing what. I'm going to do something. So it is what it is, man. So it's just because it's not about that, man. Because it's a lot of times too, it's yeah, because it's really about the standards that you hold yourself to. That's how look at it honestly, I'm going to do that work, man. And look at it in the spiritual aspect, and actually too, that work is what now, especially how much more in the word is is that faith, honestly, the work of faith. But honestly, that's what John 6:29. But also too, man, because it does Listen, it doesn't matter. That's why it says the salvation of fear and trembling, man. Because listen, it don't matter what everybody else is doing, man. Listen, you better stand on the Most High House's word and do what He said at the end of the day. So, yeah, man. Anyway, let's grab this 2 in John. Then we're gonna, look at some of this stuff. You go Peter real quick. Yeah, John chapter 1 verse 47. It says, and Yahushua saw Nathanael coming unto him, saith, Behold, an Israelite indeed, Israelite indeed, in whom is no guile. So see, Nathanael was blessed. But let's get John 1:47. And Yahushua saw Nathanael coming to him and said, Blessed is Israelite indeed, in whom is no guile. So see that, and that goes back to that Matthew 15 or that Mark 7 and that Matthew 15, and what Yahusha said was what's in the man. Because even Psalms, Proverbs, other places as well in the word, see how the Most High Yahusha could look within the man. They know the inward parts or the hearts of man. Shoot, it said that even says that in Jeremiah and in Genesis 8:21, man, how the Most High House has knows the hearts within man, knows what's in there, man. But that's why the house I could see through him, he's kind of telepathic in that aspect. He can see, or just sometimes off the spirit. I was just talking about this the other day with my homie, when we was watching that Papa Loon thing, man. So he said something even every day, man. Y'all brothers and sisters know that sometimes you could just read somebody's certain spirit or get that certain spirit that you get, that honestly. But your house I could see right through it though, he saw it. He saw it wickedly and righteously. But even in this thing, but he knew the Pharisees. He knew when they was tempting him and trying them. But also too, even with with Nathaniel, man, it said it's not what the follows what goes without a man, but what's within him. I'm paraphrasing that wrong, I believe. It's pretty much what's within the man, but it was no guile or no deceit within Nathaniel, man. That's why he was always destined to be his son of the Most High Yahushua, be following Yahushua, man. So yeah, but notice too how it says like, behold, an Israelite, and this is what a real Israelite is, like, honestly, indeed, who's no God, like, who's faithful, no God, deceit, evil, malicious, and that's a real Israelite, man. That's that Romans 9:6 is talking about, and that Revelation 2:9, 3:9 is really actually talking about. But notice how it says indeed. Then doesn't John say, let's not, like, it doesn't the Most High Yahushua said, listen, don't love in word but in deed, like, word and deed, like, honestly too. So yeah, man, I just figured that's interesting that it had that word right there, man. But it says Yahushua saw Nathanael coming to him and saith, behold, Israel indeed, whom is no God. So yeah, let's go to First Peter. Let's go to Peter real quick. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Whom knows God? Let's grab the yeah, let's grab yeah. No deceit was found in his mouth. This was just talking about. Oh man, where's it at? Yeah, hold on, y'all. All right, First Peter 2:22. I'm sorry, I thought it was on. It says, yeah, First Peter 2:22. It says, yep, kind of going back into that. It says, who did no sin, and neither was guile found in his mouth. So see, that's why you'll be blessed for following after Yahushua, and Yahushua as well. And being born of the Word means those that are born of the Word doesn't sin. So Yahushua's the Word. So that's why, like, being born of the Word, you won't sin. And also too, that's why Yahushua, like, yeah, there's no. And that's why you'll be blessed following, like, walking as He walked, and being blessed, like, being because no God, no deceit. Honestly, it doesn't say that, honestly, and I think it says that even in Revelation. We're gonna get that too. It says, "Blessed is the man whom, blessed is the man whom the Lord imputeth not with guile, and whose spirit there." I mean, I'm sorry. Blessed is the man. Psalm 32:2. Blessed is the man unto whom it imputeth not iniquity, and in whose spirit there's no guile. Yeah. Exactly, man. So it's no guile or no, see, and this is David saying this, man. So how much, like, and how much more, like, the son of David, honestly. This is talking about David kind of, in a way, prophesying of the son of David, of Yahushua. Even David, you could say that too. But even with the thing of Bathsheba, man, like, since we mentioned DMX earlier, he said, just remember, on Let Me Fly, man, on his first album, it's actually my introduction to rap. It's like he says, listen, there's a difference between doing wrong and being wrong. In that incident, like, with David and Bathsheba, he was wrong, and his intention was guile or deceitful, but that wasn't him, though. That wasn't, like, who he was. He did something wrong, but he wasn't that, honestly. That that makes sense, honestly. Yeah, but let's get 1 Peter 2:22. It says, with who did no sin, and neither was no guile found in his mouth. So no guile, no deceit. This 100 upstanding, honorable of your word. No guile, no deceit. Let's get Revelation chapter 13. This is talking about the saints. These are talking about the virgins. Like, these are talking about that. Revelation 14 and verse 5. We'll start verse 4. It says, these which they were not defiled with women, for they are virgins, and these are with they that which follow the Lamb whatsoever he goeth. They were redeemed from among men, and being the first fruits unto Yahweh and unto the Lamb. It says, It says verse 5. Here's the point. It says, and their mouth was no guile, for they are without fault before the throne of Yahweh, man. So see, that's why Hebrews says, listen, come to the throne boldly, and it was a Psalm 5, and John goes into that boldness happening, because no guile, no deceit, honestly. And that mouth is not only just the words, because like every other word, it's not just that. Also too, you're the life, our walk, our conduct, your life. Honestly, that's what it is. So yeah, man. Honestly, pretty much, man. You could be honestly that without even like without the word, you could be that, man. But anyway, man. Yeah. Hopefully it's edifying, man. So peace.